jail in 2 separate cells, and he scheduled for the couple to be sent down the river back to enslavement in 2 days, on Monday afternoon.
That would mean that all of the African Americans with jobs would have to be back at their workplaces.
And fewer people would be there to protest the Blackburns' return to slavery. So basically, he was stalling.
This is 1833.
The next day, Sunday, 2 women approached the sheriff after church service.
Mrs. French and Mrs. Lightfoot.
Both Caroline French and Tabitha Lightfoot were free black women, and they were friends of the Blackburns.
Dressed in their Sunday best with veils over their hair, they went to see the sheriff, and they asked him if they could offer their friend Mrs. Blackburn the solace of friendship and prayer. And the sheriff let them into the jail. Perhaps he thought this would assuage some of the air of violence around the town.
Mrs. French and Mrs. Lightfoot stayed well into the evening in Ruthie's cell. It was after dark when they left the jailhouse.
With veils over their faces and crying into their handkerchiefs, and walked off down the darkened streets.
The sheriff and the jailer prepared Thornton and Ruthie to be sent back to the South, to Louisville, Kentucky. But when the jailer got to Ruthie's cell,
They found out they'd switched places.
he found someone else waiting for him behind bars. It was Caroline French.
Wearing Mrs. Blackburn's very short dress.
Oh, they swapped clothes.
Yeah, they swapped clothes the night before. And by the time the sheriff realized this, Ruthie Blackburn was already across the river, in Upper Canada, one of the 2 territories that made up modern-day Canada, outside the grip of the Fugitive Slave Act.
This is
And
1833.
the Blackburns' allies had a plan to get Thornton out too.
Oh, that was just one of them.
The sheriff comes to the door of the jail with Thornton Blackburn beside him. Thornton had chains on his hands, manacles on his feet. They're going to take Thornton to a rented carriage and put him in the carriage and take him down the steamboat docks.
And the steamboat would take him back to slavery forever.
But up Gratiot Street marched a crowd of 200 angry, yelling people.
That's how you do it.
Almost all African Americans, but with some whites amongst them who disagreed with the Blackburns being sent back to slavery. At the head was an elderly woman, a wooden stake under her arm and a white rag tied around the front of it, and she pointed at the heart of the sheriff. How? This is
Ooh.
from an eyewitness account, a newspaper.
Someone in this massive crowd got Thornton's attention and tossed him a pistol. And even with his hands shackled, Thornton caught the gun.
People yelled at him to shoot the sheriff.
That's what happens when you get bad cops enforcing bad laws. This is 1833. It's America, baby. 200 people showing up.
He didn't shoot anyone. Instead,
He shot in the air. But when he fired, the crowd surged forward. They grabbed Thornton.
a group of men grabbed Thornton and they piled into a cart. And at the helm was a horse.
The blind horse, a very elderly horse.
So this blind horse galloped the cart into the woods. And as the
Wow.
jailhouse faded away in the background, they raced towards the river.
Sounds like they rescued him at least that far. My video is going to cut out, so
When
look the
they
story
got
up. The
halfway there,
Thorntons.
they could hear dogs barking. A posse was forming.
The men jumped out of the cart.
And they sent the horse and the cart
This is on
off in a
NPR.
different direction to decoy the dogs.
August
They had
5th,
an axe with them,
2021.
and they used
Look
it
it
to
up.
break the chains on Thornton.
And they ran with him